Good evening. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory here with your streaming show, your First Alert streaming show. It's kind of hard to tell for sure with how kind of hazy it looks with all of the night lights and everything, but this is a live look at downtown Evansville. This is the view from our 14 News Studio tower camera. For those of you who are curious, our official high in Evansville today was 93, which is 5 degrees warmer than the normal high for this time of year of 88. And you can definitely tell that the days are starting to get shorter. Last week, the sun rose at 5:56 and set at 7:56. Today, the sun rose at 6:02 and set at 7:48. So it's a difference of just a few minutes, but you definitely can start to tell that those days are getting shorter. But despite the shorter days, it doesn't seem to be getting any cooler. It's going to be warm and mainly dry tonight, but we are tracking a chance of scattered storms both tomorrow and maybe on Wednesday as well. By the weekend, though, it really turns very hot and rather humid too. You're really going to notice the heat by the end of the week, as it will be running quite a few degrees warmer than average, and this is already a fairly hot time of year. I mentioned that chance of a few scattered storms, but tonight I think will be mainly dry. For now, there's just a few very spotty sprinkles out in Illinois. There's a little more of that very isolated rain down to our south, but it is dry and clear here in the tri-state. As we go through the overnight hours, a few clouds and maybe even a stray shower will come up from the south-southwest. So some of you may get a brief sprinkle during the overnight hours, but most of that rain would fall while folks are sleeping. And by Tuesday morning, I think most of that will dry back out. So maybe a few clouds early Tuesday morning, but mainly dry. Then as we go through the day on Tuesday, we see the rain chances picking back up. So by about midday, probably sometime between 10 a.m. and noon, we may start to see the first couple of isolated showers bubbling up across the tri-state. Then that rain just really picks up as we head into the afternoon, looking at scattered showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms. It seems like early on, the better chance for rain will probably be east of I-69, but we continue to see scattered showers kind of spread over the entire region as we go through the rest of Tuesday afternoon and evening. So I can't guarantee that everyone will get rain tomorrow, but everyone definitely has a shot. It's not going to be widespread all day, but throughout Tuesday afternoon, there's a decent chance that at some point a good chunk of the tri-state will get at least a little bit of rain. That chance of rain becomes more isolated as we go through Tuesday evening, but we could still see a couple of showers hanging around into the first part of Tuesday night. And then that rain tapers off as we go through the overnight hours. Wednesday, the rain is looking more isolated, but there is still a chance. Spotty showers start to pop up again around lunchtime and then continue through Wednesday afternoon and evening, but you'll notice that rain looking a little more spotty, not as heavy. So again, a chance of rain, but many of us, I think, may end up staying dry on Wednesday, and any rain we do see would then start to taper off as we head into Wednesday night. As for our thunderstorm chances, not outlooked for thunderstorms of any kind tonight. If we get any rain at all, it looks like it would just be a brief shower, really just sprinkles, if that. As we get into Tuesday, though, there is that chance for a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoon. You'll notice the entire tri-state outlooked in that brown color there. That's for general run-of-the-mill thunderstorms. So we're not expecting anything severe, but we could get a few pockets of heavy rain and a few rumbles of thunder, mainly Tuesday afternoon. And there's a chance we could get an isolated thunderstorm on Wednesday as well, mainly on the southern half of the tri-state. But our chances of seeing some heavy rain and lightning seems to be better on Tuesday compared to Wednesday. Severe weather not expected either day, though. As for our temperatures, I showed you before we did top out in those low to mid 90s. The official high in Evansville was 93, but some places got up closer to 94, 95. Now we're starting to drop back through the 80s and into the 70s, sitting in the upper 70s to low 80s right now. It's 82 in Evansville, Newburgh, Henderson, and Owensboro. Our temperatures will continue to drop back through the 80s and then through the 70s overnight, eventually bottoming out in the low to mid 70s by first thing thing tomorrow morning. So it will be kind of warm and muggy right when you step out the door tomorrow morning, but not too bad of a start to the day on Tuesday. Fairly calm winds through the overnight hours, maybe a stray shower or sprinkle, but again, mainly dry. Then on Tuesday, partly cloudy. There will be some sun mixed in there as well. Temperatures will climb out of the 70s and through the 80s. If you get that rain tomorrow afternoon, that may mess with our high temperatures a little bit. Depending on exactly what time that rain hits and how much of it you get, it could keep you a little bit cooler. But especially if you don't get as much of the rain, I think our temperatures will climb into the low 90s for most locations tomorrow afternoon, and it will be more humid. The wind is going to be coming in from the south, pulling warm, muggy air into the tri-state. So when you factor in that humidity, the low 90s will probably feel like the upper 90s, maybe even up around 100 degrees. Now the humidity will dip very slightly as we get into Wednesday, Thursday. So the heat index peaking in the mid to upper 90s those days, but then both the heat and humidity climb back up as we get into the weekend. Look at this, by the weekend, by Saturday, we could be talking about a heat index as high as 100 to 105, and that's how hot it'll feel. The actual temperatures will be in the mid 90s. So we're talking low 90s, maybe even just upper 80s if you get in on some of that rain through the next couple of days, but then by the weekend, highs climbing into the low to mid 90s. I'm checking in on the comments here. Jeff Miller waiting for someone to do a rain dance. We do need some rain, Jeff. I agree with you. Good evening, Paula. Good evening, Cheyenne. Good evening, Janet. Yes, maybe a cool down, William. That's my very next slide here. I'll talk about that. And good evening, Sergeant from Owensboro, Kentucky. I was just in Owensboro. I was judging the Dancing with Our Stars contest over the weekend. That was a lot of fun. I danced in it last year, but this year I was a judge, and it's a lot less pressure. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, so we've got some scattered rain, then things really heat up, low to mid 90s through the weekend and into the start of next week. But beyond that, I do think we will start to cool back down, just like William was hinting at in the comments there. The extended outlook. This is for Tuesday, August 19th, so a full week from now. Tuesday, August 19th up through the 25th, the trend is toward average temperatures again. So we've been in this above average trend. It looks like we'll trend back more toward normal, which would be upper 80s for this time of year. So not cool, but definitely cooler than the mid 90s we'll be dealing with this weekend. However, bad news, Jeff Miller, a trend toward below average precipitation still. So we may get some rain, but the general trend still seems to be that we are getting into a drier weather pattern now. So if you're trying to grow things, grass seed or a garden or whatever it may be that needs a lot of water, unfortunately, you're probably going to have to keep watering it yourself for the next couple weeks for the most part. We do have that chance of rain tomorrow and even an isolated chance Wednesday. And, through this entire week with all this heat and humidity, every single day there's that chance that a stray shower could pop up in the heat of the day. But odds are it won't be over your house, so you're probably still going to have to keep watering things for yourself there. But the general trend into the middle and second half of next week is still showing near or slightly below average precipitation there. Now I want to talk about the tropics because that's another big thing making weather headlines right now. Tropical storm Erin. It is way out here. I mean, that's Africa that you see on the right side of the screen there. So we are right off the coast of Africa with this. So it didn't make it very far into the ocean before it formed into a tropical storm. It has winds of 45 miles an hour right now. It is still way, way out there. It's going to take its time working its way across the Atlantic, but as it does so, it is expected to strengthen. By Wednesday, it'll likely become a hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane, but then it'll keep strengthening, and by the weekend, it looks like it may turn into a major hurricane, a Category 3. Now, that's as far out as the official forecast goes, but the models do go a little bit farther. So here's just to give you the idea here. Remember where that track was. Most of the models, with the exception of this one outlier, most of the models are kind of in line with that same official National Hurricane Center forecast. They all show it just kind of coming straight across here. And then what's interesting though is all of them have it turning north as it moves into sort of the Caribbean here. So the question is, how early will it turn? Because they all have it turning north at some point, some of them very early on, even earlier than the official forecast, and then others not until much later. But I mean, notice this is Thursday afternoon. That's next Thursday. We're talking about something that just formed, and we're forecasting where it's going to be a week and a half from now. So this is all very much speculation here. But there is definitely this trend right now that this storm is going to turn northward. So the question then becomes, will it make some kind of impact on the east coast of the U.S.? Will there be any sort of landfall there on the east coast of the U.S.? And it is too early to tell for sure. It could turn north much sooner than that and never make landfall, but we're just going to have to wait and see. But I just wanted to give you the update. We do have a tropical storm formed just off the coast of Africa. It's going to take it several days to make its way across the ocean, but it is going to gain steam as it does that. And by this weekend, we will probably be tracking a major hurricane. And at that point, we should have, as it gets to that point, we should have a better idea of where it's going from there and whether or not there's going to be any kind of impacts to the mainland U.S. there. For those of you who missed which storm this is Tropical Storm Erin that we are tracking here. So that would make it the 5th named storm of the year so far. If there's another named storm after this, it would be Fernan. And then after that, you get down into Gabrielle, and it continues down the list from there. I do expect that we probably will get to use some more of these other names because we are just now getting into what is typically the most active part of hurricane season. So hurricane season runs from May through the end of November, but you can see there's definitely a big spike. So while tropical systems are possible and fairly common anytime from May through the end of November, there's definitely a peak season, and we're just starting to get into that. So as we go through the month of August into September, September is where hurricane season typically hits its peak and then starts to trend back down through the month of October. So I do expect that we will see more and more of these storms developing and run through some more of those names as we go through the next few weeks. But right now we are at name number 5, Tropical Storm Erin, expected to eventually become a major hurricane, but that wouldn't be until this weekend. So this is going to be a long time. You're going to be hearing about this for several days as this continues to make its way closer. And as it moves closer, we should have a clearer idea of whether or not it'll impact the U.S. So we'll keep you updated on that. Not expecting any impacts here at home. Again, we've got just a few scattered showers and storms tomorrow, mainly from about midday through the afternoon and evening. Wednesday, the chances are more isolated, but still there, could still get a few showers and storms. And then those rain chances become more and more isolated then as we get toward the end of the week. Partly cloudy with highs in the upper 80s to low 90s through the middle of the week, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. But then as the mostly sunny skies come back out, so does the heat, and temperatures will climb into the mid-90s this weekend with a heat index into the low triple digits there, possibly peaking as high as 100 to 105. So I still think we'll probably stay out of that danger zone, which is 105 or above. That's where you start talking about heat advisories, alert days, that kind of thing. So it is going to be hot. It's definitely going to be a situation where you want to be drinking extra water and thinking about what your plans are for this weekend. If it's, really strenuous activity, maybe reschedule or move it to early in the morning or later in the evening, just with the knowledge that it is going to be very hot this weekend. But it is not going to be heat advisory, event cancellation kind of hot. At least it doesn't look that way right now. It is going to be uncomfortable though, so just be prepared for that. All right, checking in on the comments one more time. Let me see if I can scroll up here so I can see some more of them. I don't have it on my phone tonight. Good evening, Patty. Thank you for watching, Suzanne. Good evening, Ricky. Yeah, Paula, it's been fairly dry out there, which is interesting because it was such a wet start to the year. We had so much snow and rain at the beginning of the year. We've had flooding several times this year. And then we've had several heavy rain events even through the early part of this summer, but now it seems like things have just kind of dried out. So it's Not uncommon though. Typically our driest months of the year are as you get into, September, October. That's oftentimes where, if there's no tropical systems coming up into our area to kind of bring us that big surge of tropical moisture, oftentimes we slip into drought as we get into the fall months. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's not gotten that desperate just yet. Everything's still pretty green out there, but it's definitely starting to dry out. Good evening, Nancy and Laura. Thank you for watching from Dawson Springs. I'm not seeing any more questions in the comments, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, scattered showers and storms the next couple of days, but nothing widespread, nothing severe. And as we get more sunshine by the end of the week, be prepared. It is going to be hot again with highs in the mid-90s and a heat index into the triple digits. All right, you guys have a great rest of your night, and I hope you'll join us for 14 News at 10.